On to the review of this Thursday's return Smallville episode, Legion, which featured the Legion of Superheroes. Initially, it was a very exciting episode. I mean, when the Legion were on screen, I was hooked in. When they weren't, I wasn't. And actually, Brainiac's scheme was much better in this episode than in previous seasons. Because, most of it was half-assed, with the Zod storyline and Lex being the vessel and all that. So I felt that this was a much better scheme that he had.
Yeah, I
mean,
agree.
Not going back in time or anything like
This
that.
was like a return to sort of like classic Brainiac and then updated through DCAU almost. Because he wanted to collect the knowledge, and that's always been classic Brainiac.
Exactly.
But he was using machines and the Brainiac symbol from the animated series.
Well, thank Jeff Johns for that, because he wrote this episode.
Yeah, and that was kind of like draining every individual brain of all its knowledge.
Yeah.
Which was great.
People went under control because they were, like, at their computers and stuff. And I was thinking to myself, thought crossed my mind.
No, all electronics. Anything with a screen, I think.
Well, yeah, what about people, like, driving taxi cabs and stuff? They're going to be fine.
Well, until they look at a computer screen. Or a television.
Yeah, true, or the navigation system in a car.
True. So eventually you're going to
yeah.
Eventually, or a cell phone screen.
Yeah, no,
eventually you're going to get caught, basically.
Yeah, I know, I just had to bring that up.
Sure, I mean, people in the country were probably safe. That's why he brought him to the barn. Because there was no electronics around.
Which was smart on Clark's
Yeah,
side.
no, that was good. Another smart thing on Brainiac's part was that he gave the reason why he was infecting Chloe because he knew Clark wouldn't hurt her.
Exactly.
So that was like the ultimate shield.
Yeah, the Legions is like, we have to destroy the host no matter what.
I really enjoyed how even Brainiac Chloe looked in this episode. She had that tattered like wedding dress, and it was really elegant in the lighting. Like it made her look like a villain, especially when she was walking down the steps.
Yeah.
And like approaching Davis. That was a very good scene.
Cinematography and lighting was good, and Allison Mack, of course.
Yeah, it was really good. I really liked that dynamic. Plus, you then explained whatever else was missing from the Doomsday plot. She pretty much explained the rest of it because she was explaining it to him.
That your human life is basically nothing.
That, and now you need to go into your 12-day chrysalis and then you will become the Ultimate Destroyer.
Yeah.
But, I mean, now we know that it was interrupted.
Yeah.
So he never became the perfect being, which means he's beatable, basically. No, he's not a Doomsday that could just flat out just destroy everything.
He's not like the full-on killing machine.
Well, what I'm saying is he can be defeated because he's not perfect. He didn't even get 1 day of incubation.
Well, because he still has his human camouflage, as Brainiac said.
Well, no, he shed that at the end of the episode, and he looked like Doomsday. But what I'm saying is, he's not like 12 times the strength of like Superman type stuff. You know what I mean? Like, they're probably going to be on equal playing field then, if not him a little bit tougher.
Yeah.
So that whole Brainiac plot was good too. I agree, and the look of it, the whole every Brainiac scene was good to me.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed him as him, her. It's not even a gender. The computer.
Well, no, not really.
I enjoyed the computer as the villain.
Well, was it Chloe? Yeah, I did kind of get close to Davis.
Yeah, but there was no romantic tension there.
Well, I know, but she was
just more like
in and like...
No, it was more like a scientist examining a specimen.
Exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, when she grabbed him by the face, kind of like examining him.
Yeah.
Which was cool.
Yeah, and Sam Witwer, did a good job in this episode, too. Because I really felt bad for Davis when he said, I don't want to hurt anyone.
I agree. I think that for being like a failed apprentice, getting his start, he's been one of the better actors on the show. Wouldn't you say?
Much better than that poor version of Mercy Graves.
I think he's better than Clark at acting, to be honest with you. Well, he's got a very emotive face.
He does, yeah.
I don't know what it is, but it looks like a tragic face. I can't explain.
But I like this take on Doomsday.
Oh yeah, me too, and I think it works. All right, let's just get to the Legion part of it because that's really the main showcase of the episode.
So after wasting screen time clonosine, the Persuader comes in, beams down into the barn, destroys a box, and attacks Clark, and the axe goes through his body, basically.
Well, if you caught it later on, they did a little curare thing. It was sharpened to within an atom. That's why it cut him. Because it actually cut into his atoms,
or like Wonder Woman says in Kingdom Come about her sword.
Yeah, so I mean, I guess it is one thing that can cut him.
Yeah.
I mean, but it didn't cut him very deep. If that hit a human, that would have killed them.
Yeah.
It might even cut him in half.
I'm having the strangest feeling of deja vu because I feel like we talked about this part already.
We didn't.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just feeling deja vu.
I love the Persuader. I like him in the cartoon. I think he's probably awesome in the comics.
Yeah.
I like how he has a weapon and he uses it. You know what I mean?
And I made him in Soul Calibur 4, so...
It's just kind of like, there's so many villains that just don't have a weapon, and it doesn't make sense that they don't.
Yeah.
And he has, like, an axe. It's more of a glaive. And, he's gonna cut the shit... he's gonna kill you. He's gonna behead you. He's gonna cut people. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I like that. Plus, I like his mask.
Yeah.
It's kind of almost, like an executioner's mask, but in a futuristic kind of bent to it.
Well, yeah.
They didn't mention the Fatal Five. Instead, they had the Human Liberation Front or something.
Well, because I took it as, like how I guess in our world, the Justice League is just getting started.
Mm-hmm.
In their future, the Legion has just established itself, like developing
Right, so the Fatal Five hasn't formed yet.
Exactly, yeah.
Right.
And that's why the Legion were saying, we gotta kill the host at all costs.
Yeah, but he also, Cosmic Boy also mentioned, though, he was part of a Human Liberation Front that didn't want aliens on Earth.
Well, yeah.
But then the Persuader ends up joining a group, the Fatal Five, which are consisting of mostly aliens, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, maybe not.
No, because
there's Half-Man, then there's the Empress, who's kind of like human-looking.
One lightning lad mentioning he came from mud or something.
Yeah, and then the one guy, actually, the other guy who can melt anything, he was human once. Yeah. The only one that's not is the giant robot with the exposed brain.
Well, I don't know that much about the Legion.
Well, I don't really know much about the Fatal Five, so I guess it works. It doesn't matter. If they didn't mention it, they didn't mention it.
Yeah.
In their world, it doesn't exist. But, yeah. Alright, so anyway, let's move to the Legionnaires themselves.
Okay, I really like the actor that played Cosmic Boy. He did a good job. Well, in the photos that were released before this episode aired, he had facial hair and stuff, and that kind of threw me off for a bit. I know he's supposed to be the older one, because he's, like, the leader and stuff, but, I don't know. It didn't bother me.
He had facial hair?
Yeah, he did. He had, like, a little mustache and a goatee.
No, he didn't.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, I didn't even notice it.
Yeah.
Whatever, they're not little kids.
Well, I know that, but they are teenagers, so...
No, they're, like, early 20s, I think.
Yeah.
They're just young. Younger than you would expect.
Yeah.
I thought they all played well.
And Lightning Lad, too. He was basically the voice of the audience / fans.
I heard a lot of people didn't like Saturn Girl as an actress. They thought she was
I thought Lexi Johnson did a good job.
I thought her voice was very conducive with a telepath. It's kind of like a soothing voice, like... Well, you know what I mean?
Well, that's supposed to be what Saturn Girl's like.
Yeah, I'm saying that. Yeah, I think that actually worked. I don't know if she was really. She did have a kind of almost hypnotic voice. It was weird. The actress.
Well, because she read minds and stuff.
No, but like even her real voice, didn't it kind of sound almost like? I don't know. Didn't it sound like kind of off? Not off, but like strange and unusual. Maybe that was
I think that's what it was supposed to be like.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think kind of the Lana scenes were a little bit of a waste.
Oh yeah, and like, oh god, it was like, I don't know what it was. It was like, it was saying all the like, oh, Lana does great things and blah blah blah.
But
like,
it didn't. It wasn't too bad though. It could have been so much. I was really expecting the worst from her scenes, but mostly it was just pushing the story along a little bit because Clark was doubting himself a little bit whether or not he should kill Chloe.
And he was back to being naive.
And she just... No, he wasn't naive.
Yeah, because he's like, I took care of it. Brainiac's gone. He's over.
Well, Nick, when you first heard... When strangers come to you and tell you that Brainiac's still alive, and you thought he was dead, you wouldn't believe them. So relax about that. And he wasn't being naive. What he was saying was, is my one friend's life worth the entire world? And he was starting to doubt himself, thinking, maybe as not as Superman, but maybe with all this power, I should be making these decisions, and I should choose to save the world instead of my friend. But then Lana kind of brought him back to his roots and was like, Clark Kent would never compromise like that. And it's true, like he wouldn't. So he was kind of reminded of who he was. But it was ultimately
gearing us toward Lana, but
no, but it was ultimately his decision, and he's ultimately the one that reminded the Legionnaires. And pretty much set up the standard for the 31st century.
About the first rule, protect humanity at all costs.
Preserve
humanity.
Preserve human life at all costs.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that was a pretty important scene.
Yeah, but also...
I think that's also sort of hinting at, on Saturn Girl's part, why she had an influence on Clark.